Hello and welcome to the QB School. I'm JT O'Sullivan. Today, special edition. Been waiting to do this video for a while. A couple suggestions for it here over the last year or so. And it's a really just kind of, I'm excited about it. It's a different video, pretty cool, unique, kind of reactionary video. And so essentially what it's going to be is me reacting, maybe telling a few more stories about the NFL Films video that they did about me graduating and finishing grad school. So it's this kind of surreal kind of context as far as for me as a player and a fan of NFL football. Like, I remember growing up watching NFL films all the time. Like, I remember there was one specifically we would watch before every high school football game. I'm almost positive. I looked for the clip and I couldn't find it. So if it's out there, someone shoot it to me, of like a kickoff scene where it's Bon Jovi and I feel like it's like shot to the heart. And they're like showing these slow motion runs and you see the ball kicked and it's just like this like pump up jam, get you fired up to watch football. Like that's how I grew up loving football. I remember having the VHS tapes, NFL films, watch it before every game. And it was just it's a special part of why I loved the game. And so to see my playing career and kind of academic career merge and blend into its own NFL films kind of small feature thing, like, it's just surreal. It's still surreal even when I think about it. The fact that they're in the house, that they came to a couple events, that got a chance to know a few other people. So it was just kind of this surreal kind of beautiful kind of bookend to that part of my life. And I'm excited to share it with you all today. I think hopefully I can provide a little bit more detail into it, but it was really fun. I had a great experience. I think they were very kind to me on a number of different levels. So I'm excited to share it with y'all. The QB School community as it continues to grow and grow, I'm trying to provide kind of unique, cool content that you can't find anywhere else. So I'm assuming there aren't too many people out there with NFL films, kind of short stories about themselves, and then to be able to react to it and y'all can experience it with me. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Let's dive into it. Welcome to the QB School. All right, here we go. Yeah, a little fake reading. Like it.
Play sports, and so I was having fun winning when I was in high school, in college, and then I got to a point where it was about proving people wrong.
Little Aggie action here.
JT O'Sullivan was never
Get the ball out, bro. Yo, little gap boot. All the Davis fans out there. Anime played in the league.
He wasn't focused on the NFL, period.
I spent 5 years at UC Davis. To be honest with you, I remember the exact day that I found out that it was even an opportunity.
It's our head coach on the left, Kenny.
My
all right.
head coach came up to me and said, "You want to see the draft evaluations?" And I didn't even know what he was talking about. He's like, "You graded out as like a potential draft pick."
After his junior season at UC Davis,
I don't know about the ball security there.
Actually got a Heisman
Charlie,
Trophy
big time,
just
saving me on a bad, poorly thrown ball.
After his senior year, he got a job offer.
So let me talk a little bit about the getting drafted part of it. This version that I gave the NFL films is definitely the clean version of it. The a little bit more real life version of it is I was furious, as I think most people are, honestly. If you're not a top tier pick, you essentially are pissed on draft day. You feel like you're getting passed over. Yes, you're obviously happy at the end of it that you get drafted, but I would say the percentages are very few that people who are excited and surprised by where they get drafted. Most people are pissed. I was furious, like legitimately like borderline shaking, that I had to like go off in my room in my college apartment and just kind of like pretend to fall asleep. And I did fall asleep just because I was mentally exhausted, but there's a lot of it that was not great. Like the whole day, really 2-3 days at that point, like it was just like a mini nightmare on many levels. But then you're obviously excited with your family, get drafted, very cool. But like, it's not like all of a draft party. You know, I didn't want to have that awkward draft party where you don't get drafted. So it was just kind of me and the family. But I was pissed, and I was getting upset that these quarterbacks kept getting taken over me, especially teams that I thought or teams that explicitly told me they will draft me, would draft another quarterback. Like I was pissed and I was furious. So this is kind of the NFL films version of it, but not necessarily all of reality.
Great, bizarre experience. I think back then it was split up 2 days, maybe. And so the second day, all of a sudden I took a nap and ended up waking up to a phone call from the Saints.
AB.
O'Sullivan was the 11th quarterback taken.
Oh, there's Sammy Knight next to me on the left.
And the
One of the
186th
better safeties I ever played with.
His
Oh man, this day,
road to the NFL.
this day in Detroit, let me tell you now, this day in Detroit was not great. I think it was like the third game of the season. The reason I remember is because Joey Harrington was playing as the quarterback. We came out the same year. And all I remember him doing was he threw this long touchdown pass, just running down the field with his mouthpiece out, like with the finger up. And I was just furious, like heated. It was a difficult day. It was nice to play inside though.
Didn't get any shorter or straighter once he got there.
Got drafted
Arizona
by
State Stadium, I think,
After
right
the
there.
second year, I went to Frankfurt.
Oh, this is a
NFL Europe for a season. My third year, I'm with New Orleans. About a quarter of the way through that season, I get traded to Green Bay. I get cut from Green Bay the following year, go to the practice squad at Chicago. Then I'm picked up on the active roster by Minnesota. Released from Minnesota the following camp, and essentially out of the league that year. I'm on the practice squad in New England, and then the final week of the season in Carolina. Then I go back to Europe again, get picked up, and go to Detroit. From Detroit, I went to San Francisco to Cincinnati to San Diego, to Oakland, to CFL, Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Pretty good.
Walk me.
So those were all the teams that I played for. I practiced for that. They actually asked my wife, Laura, you'll see later. I don't know if she got it right, but I practiced pretty hard for that. Now that's obviously edited, so I'm going to try to do it again. I did not practice again, but see if I can go through the teams. I probably won't even get it right, to be honest with you. New Orleans, after my second year, went to Frankfurt. Back in New Orleans, get traded to Green Bay. Cut at Green Bay, Chicago practice squad, picked up by the Vikings. Cut with the Vikings, essentially out of the league for a year. Practice squad, New England for about 8 weeks. Carolina, last week of the season. Go back to Frankfurt to kind of reignite my career. Mike March sees my film. Get picked up by the Lions, San Francisco, Cincinnati, San Diego, Oakland, Saskatchewan. So it was quite a hodgepodge of and you know what? I think I actually missed signing with the Bears there in between there. I never played for them, but right before I went back to Europe, I signed with the Bears again. Never played, so it doesn't really count. But quite a decade there. So yeah, I know it makes it look like I knew it, but I actually had to practice it pretty much.
That's a pretty fast way through about a decade plus.
Also, that backyard right there, that's where we play a lot of kickball and wiffle ball nowadays.
I'm from a Navy family, so for me, the moving, it was really a lot like military family. It wasn't always the glamorous life.
It definitely was not the glamorous life. There's nothing cool about staying in an extended stay. I will tell you right here, this underneath whatever the Bengal Stadium is called, the quarterbacks, I'm there with the Palmer brothers. We did this like weird rhyme thing before every game. Like, I don't know. I have no idea where it started. You'd have to ask Carson or Jordan. But they would you do like this little like rhyme thing and try to make it funny. And I swear I spent more time on that sometimes than probably I should have, trying to make something funny come up, and half the time they sucked anyway. But it was this unique thing that no other team I'd ever been around. I don't know if Carson did it everywhere he went, but it was a cool little thing that I appreciated with those guys.
We spent Christmas in an extended stay hotel in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, number 7.
That wasn't always the most awesome part, but he felt so lucky because he got to live his dream. And so for him to be playing in the NFL, he never complained.
First snap ever.
His first
welcome,
game
Green
action
Bay.
was taking a knee twice for the Packers in 2005. His third team in
Victory.
3 years.
Best formation in football.
His first touchdown pass didn't come until year 6.
All right, so the first touchdown pass, let me tell you a little bit about this. Really the first time I played here. John gets his bell rung. He's out. Back in the day, you could come back in. He's out for a few series. We're playing the Vikings. Well, I was on the Vikings not too many years before that, so I knew basically every single person on that defense. I didn't need like a scouting report at one time in the NFC North. I was literally on every NFC North team. I knew every person basically on every team. So when playing against the Vikings, it was easy for me. There wasn't a question. Like 1,000% I knew Winfield, one of the corners, and the nickel. I thought he was one of the best players in the league. So I was not going to go that direction. And I knew Griffin on the other side playing corner. It didn't matter who was over there. Calvin, it just so happened I got lucky that Calvin was over there, but Roy could have easily done it as well. I was throwing it up over there for sure. I thought Antonio Winfield was one of the better players that I ever played with, especially in the secondary. So it was an easy choice for me to kind of say, yeah, bro, I'm going to go over here.
was backing up John Kitna in Detroit. I came in, I don't remember exactly when it happened in that game, but it was essentially a jump ball to Calvin, and so I didn't have to do much.
Sullivan looking more comfortable out there now.
There you go. Just give him a chance. Ooh, NFL Europe.
After his second stint in Europe, O'Sullivan landed in 2008 with the 49ers, his 10th team.
We went to go check him out at training camp, and he's like, they said I'm going to be the starter.
So, yes, that is exactly what had happened. Let me build a little bit more context here. I'm going to be really explicit again when I talk about this. No excuses. I definitely could have played better. For sure, I should have. And/or let me just say how it works reps-wise, NFL teams. So the starter gets the reps during the season. During the offseason, the 2 will get some reps. The 3, if it's a young guy that they're developing, usually get some reps. When I was in San Francisco, I was the guy who knew Mike's system, Martz's system. Adam Gase was our quarterback coach. I knew Adam from Detroit too. So they basically, the 3 of us came over. And so during the spring, I literally did not get 1 rep in a team period or 7-on-7 period, 0. Essentially, Alex Smith and Sean Hill were competing for the job, and they should have. They both played the year before and did well enough, but, they were competing for the job. I didn't get 1 rep. 0 reps in the spring. 0 reps the first week of training camp. 0. The light in there. 0 reps. Then Alex hurts his shoulder. Actually, I think the way it happened was Sean Hill was complaining about his arm being tired. So Mike was getting pissed with him and just basically said, all right, you're done for the day. JT, you take his reps. So they're splitting reps with the 1s. So I'm all of a sudden going from 0 reps to now splitting reps with the 1s. And the next thing we know, Alex is hurts his shoulder. Sean's all healed. And now it's like Sean and I are battling for this spot all of a sudden. Well, I'm at a huge advantage because I know, exactly what Mike's looking for. I've played many of these plays before, having a year in the system. Sean had played with Norv. Both those guys had played with Norv, so they had similar terminologies, but it's just you're at a huge advantage. So I go from having 0 reps to basically being the starter, 72 hours later. So it was just kind of like a whirlwind, but it was so much fun to play. I had such a blast. Obviously, wish I could have played better, but there's such a difference as far as a player, especially a quarterback, when you go from having no reps, sucks, to getting the best reps, all the reps, playing all the time after basically a half decade of not getting any sort of an opportunity. So it was awesome and surreal all at the same time.
And going into camp, he was like the 3rd string guy.
Mike Martz has a new student, and it's a guy that not many people have heard of before. His name is JT O'Sullivan. 5 NFL games in 5 years.
Ooh, I don't know about that release.
In him. And so the fact that he was given a chance, that was a really cool thing.
It was so much fun to play. I mean, it was.
Oh, look at the back of that drop there. No heel click.
To get that opportunity.
Little toesy though.
But then really just the immersing yourself and being the guy that gets to go out there, run out there.
So much fun to play.
Field and play quarterback. I mean, it's a dream.
Yeah, a little toesy, no doubt.
I got a chance to do it.
O'Sullivan started 8 games for the Niners. He threw 8 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
It was fun to beat the Lions too.
The season. He would play 4 more years
Delaney
of
still
professional
killing it.
football and never start another game.
It never crossed my mind to quit. It got tougher and tougher the older I got. But at the same time, it's such a short career. I'm going to do everything I can to maximize this opportunity, and that's one of the things I feel really good about.
So right there, I get asked this every once in a while from people who are diehards. JT, why are you wearing 2 towels? You're the only dude I've ever seen wear 2 towels. And yes, I don't know if I ever saw anybody else wear 2 towels. Let me tell you exactly why. Now, this might mean I have some issues, but some germaphobe issues, especially back then when I was nervous about being sick all the time. I just didn't like licking my lips all the time. You see quarterbacks all the time, it just to me, I was like, and then I was thinking where this hand goes, and I was just I just couldn't do it. So I told this I was friends with most of the equipment guys I was around from time to time, from team to team. And one of them was like, hey, you should just wet a towel, have 1 wet towel, 1 dry towel. And I was like, thank you. So I basically had 1 wet towel, 1 dry towel. Now it worked out great until you're in a really cold situation where that wet towel becomes a frozen towel. And now you're licking your hands again. And it's just But that's the story. So
I did. I sucked the marrow out of that career.
Jack, you want to play indoor baseball?
Big D.
School, please. Good idea.
This is mornings in
At
our house every day.
33, O'Sullivan was
Ooh,
done
little
with
indoor
football.
baseball. Larkin, the little guy.
As quietly as he came.
Safe.
But he hadn't given up on his drive.
About halfway through my career, that year I was out of the league, I decided to go back to school in the off season, and so I was going back to school to get my master's, and realized that I kind of liked going to school as just a student.
Going to school as just a student for a person who's been a student athlete their whole life is so much better, so much easier when you can do all the reading, when you are not like exhausted every single night. Now, I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing in the world and that you don't have issues as just a student, but when you've been a student athlete your whole life and then you go back to just school, especially grad school where grades are kind of inflated even more than most inflation for grades nowadays, it was like, I love this. It was so easy. Not easy, but easier. And I enjoyed it and I was learning and I wasn't like exhausted and hating it. And so it was just cool and I just didn't want to stop. Plus, crazy thing, depending on how many years you've vested in the league pays for you to go back to school. Now, granted, it's designed for people who come out early to go back and finish your undergrad, but you can use it for graduate school. So they're paying me. I was a Division II non-scholarship student athlete, bro. Like, I know how important that money is to be able to pay for school. Like, I'm going back. I'm going to get my master's. I'm getting my doctorate. Thank you, NFL.
But one postgraduate degree wasn't enough. After his master's, O'Sullivan went chasing a PhD.
Fake reading.
I always say he's a jock but a nerd. And I love nerds, so I married the nerd. I mean, you can see his library. He loves reading.
So this is essentially what a PhD looks like as far as books.
Not the Clive Cluster
All my
stuff on the
research
left.
Stuff. This is the hard copy of what a PhD looks like. All the classes, dissertation. And then there are a few
QB
nuggets
School
of
Studio
football
now.
in here you can see. Got my first touchdown pass. Calvin.
Laura moved it over there. She said I needed more
Jersey.
football stuff in the back. Didn't like the
13
books. Too
helmets.
nerdy.
The whiteboard is kind of carry over to football world.
Oh, man.
Because for a long
Whiteboards.
time, I thought in whiteboard. You know, you spend
I still
so much
do
time
think in
meeting
whiteboard.
rooms.
Zampese. Oh, man. This is Hard Knocks. So Hard Knocks came and filmed the year I was in Cincinnati. Obviously, you probably don't remember me. I was in the background, wallflower. It's an awkward experience. Let me tell you, anybody who tells you that Hard Knocks, people don't act differently is not telling the truth. You never get comfortable with a big old HD camera like right in your face in the middle of probably the most intense time of the entire year. You know, it was just awkward on many levels. And so I wasn't the best subject in the world, best part of the team, but I didn't want anything to do with it. My language is terrible in training camp. I'm not in a great mood most of the time, not getting the reps that I want to get. And so not feeling great, arm hurts, tired, like all the excuses you can possibly come up with, but pretty cool to be able to see it nowadays.
Game planning. So every month I would set up my plan for where
That's it right there. This basically, to me, sums up like what it is to be an NFL quarterback. You're in there on their off day or your day off in training camp. You feel terrible. You probably just got a workout in, got a little shower, ice up. Your arm feels terrible. You're by yourself. You got to go do the work to get better, see where you're at with your craft. This is how you become, in my opinion, like a pro's pro. There, you got to go do the individual work. You got to work on your craft by yourself. So I always thought that was kind of one of the things that helped separate people, especially at the quarterback position. You have to be willing to go in there and do the work solo. They can't hold your hand every single day. And I love this shot because this is some random, I don't even remember what the university is, in Kentucky with the Bengals. Got to watch film. You're in there by yourself, grinding, trying to get better, trying to figure out what you're doing to compete for your livelihood, your job. Everything is at stake. You're locked in. And this is it right here. Ice pack, forearm, shoulder. My forearm, for some reason, was always the first thing to go for me. It was the worst because it felt like all of a sudden you're like throwing with a spoon. You can't like grip it the way you want to grip it. So good encapsulation of kind of what it's like to be a quarterback in the league during training camp.
I was out with my dissertation, the date that it happened on, and then these
There you
times
go.
on the right are actually my rehearsal time. So I learned that any time I really needed to give a presentation or prepare for something, if I do it 10 times, I feel pretty confident.
So the guy who led an NFL depth chart for 8 weeks
Anybody who knows what kind of bag that is or where it's from, I'm going to be really impressed.
of an 11-year, 15-stop career set off to defend his dissertation on leadership studies.
JT, it's all yours.
Thank you.
Dissertation day.
Good morning. Leadership
Thank
was
God it's
something
over.
that I took a lot of pride in as a quarterback, and thought I was kind of almost like a leadership junkie. As
Oh,
far
my
as
mom
reading
makes an
books about
appearance.
it, but I didn't necessarily know the academic theory behind it. Out-of-body experience.
All the nerds in the hallway together. I appreciate all them coming to support.
Oh, goodness.
I think it's going to be like a lifelong learning journey for him, which I think is great for our children to see that, yeah, it's cool Dad played in the NFL, but what's even cooler is that he's, trying really hard in school.
Well, I wanted to be the first.
So this is one of the best parts about becoming a doctor or a PhD. And basically that first time your committee chair says, congratulations, Dr. O, blah, blah, blah. Like, for real, like you've thought about it. People joke around, like your friends will be like, doctor, like you're not that kind of doctor. But like, this is the first like real congratulations, Dr. O'Sullivan. Very cool. In fact, the NFL Films crew actually didn't love this one. This is the actual real one. We actually come back and fake shot one with like the bigger hugs and the da-da-da. And I guess they didn't like it because this was the original.
Congratulate you.
Thanks so much.
Dr. O'Sullivan. Great work, JT. Great work.
I understood that I was going to maximize my opportunity and know that I left
It's after
absolutely
the Giants
everything
killed
I
us.
possibly could. in it.
Gray.
And I wanted to walk away knowing that I exhausted all my options, that I tried as absolutely as hard as I could.
Ready, Jack?
All right, ready?
Let's do it, buddy.
People always say that you have so many
Oh, this is good living right here. This is living in the little island we live in San Diego, Coronado. Everybody rides bikes. Get your kids out there. Take them to school. We actually did this morning. So pretty cool. Love living over here. Love the bikes. A little inside snapshot into our world.
transferable skills. You can do so many things afterwards. And in reality, I think that resilience element of it was probably something that I didn't realize when I was going through it.
See you tomorrow, Bridge.
But it was really translated over into my next phases of life.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that journey. Again, it was fun for me to relive it again. Crazy, surreal, have an NFL Films thing when you're such an NFL Films fan. Get a chance to live out my dream, playing quarterback in the league for so many years, then being able to share that kind of next phase with the academic journey. Really cool. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You have questions, thoughts, whatever, hit me in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It's so much fun to see this thing grow. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.